Welcome to Power and Strategy, where we unpack the ideas that shaped history. Today we're diving into one of the most iconic quotes ever: "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." This comes from Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince. Is it as cold-blooded as it sounds? What's the deeper meaning, and how does it apply to today's world? Let's break it down. Niccolo Machiavelli, a Renaissance Florentine, wrote, "A guide for rulers on how to gain and keep power." His most famous advice? "It is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose." That sounds harsh, but Machiavelli wasn't advocating cruelty for its own sake. He was a realist. Love is fickle, easily lost when times get tough. People's loyalty based on love can vanish overnight. Fear, on the other hand, is a more reliable motivator. If people fear the consequences of disobedience, they're more likely to stay in line. Machiavelli wasn't theorizing from a distance. He lived through political chaos and saw leaders rise and fall. His advice was practical. In a world where one mistake could cost you everything, stability mattered more than popularity. It is less about being a good person, and more about surviving as a leader. Machiavelli's world was brutal, and his book was a survival guide. He believed that in politics, results and strength matter most. For Machiavelli, power was about making hard choices, not winning hearts. His message: don't build your rule on sand, choose the foundation that lasts. To understand Machiavelli, picture Florence during the Renaissance, a city of art, but also constant political turmoil. Italy was a patchwork of city-states, always at war or forming shaky alliances. Machiavelli spent 14 years as a diplomat, witnessing firsthand how fragile power could be. He saw leaders like Piero Soderini, who tried to rule with kindness, get overthrown when the Medici returned with an army. The people's love wasn't enough to save Soderini, or Machiavelli's job. This taught Machiavelli that good intentions don't count for much in politics. What matters is strength and results. Rulers who rely on affection are the first to fall in a crisis. Was written from bitter experience, a job application to the Medici and a warning about the realities of power. Machiavelli's lesson: be tough, be pragmatic, and don't expect love to save you. Let's break down Machiavelli's logic. Love is a weak chain. People abandon you when it suits them. Fear, however, is a strong deterrent. It's about clear consequences, not random cruelty. Think of a parent. Love matters, but fear of punishment keeps order. Machiavelli used history to prove his point. Hannibal's strictness kept his diverse army loyal, while lenient Roman generals lost control. The goal isn't to be a monster, but to be effective. A leader's duty is stability, even if that means using fear to prevent chaos. Sometimes being too soft leads to greater harm, disorder, riots, and bloodshed. For Machiavelli, a strong, feared leader who keeps the peace is better for everyone. It's the classic ends justify the means argument. In his view, firmness is often the more responsible choice. Machiavelli draws a crucial line: be feared but never hated. Hatred breeds conspiracies and rebellion. Fear alone keeps order. How to avoid hatred? Respect people's property and families. Machiavelli said, "A man will sooner forget the death of his father than the loss of his inheritance." Don't cross those lines and you can rule firmly without sparking revenge. Consistency matters too. Punishments should be swift and just, not arbitrary. People hate unpredictable cruelty but respect clear rules. The balance is control. A feared leader commands respect, a hated one loses it. Hatred forces rulers into paranoia and tyranny, which usually ends badly. Machiavelli's advice: use fear as a precise tool, not a blunt weapon. Command obedience, not resentment. That's the tightrope every leader must walk. Machiavelli's ideas are still everywhere, from boardrooms to politics. Think of leaders like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, not always loved but respected and sometimes feared for their high standards. Their tough leadership drove results and loyalty, echoing Machiavelli's principles. The fear wasn't physical, it was fear of failing, of not measuring up. Yet, they avoided outright hatred by inspiring people with a larger vision. In politics, candidates seek love during campaigns but govern with tough decisions that require respect and sometimes fear of consequences. The lesson for all leaders? Goodwill isn't enough. You need clear expectations, consequences, and respect. Sometimes a little fear is part of that respect. The challenge is balance. Don't be a tyrant, but don't be a pushover. Machiavelli's wisdom is about understanding real human motivation. 5 centuries later, his little book still matters. What do you think? Is it better to be feared or loved in today's world? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more Machiavelli breakdowns, hit that like button and subscribe. the art of leadership is still about walking that fine line.